Hey guys, I want to share another Tai Chi tip with you today that I got from Bruce Francis during the Tai Chi instructor training in Brighton last summer. And this one is to play your Tai Chi form like a rock band plays a song. And let me explain what that means. This is for people who are a little bit further along in their practice. In other words, if you have to devote a lot of cognitive effort to just remembering the sequence of the choreography of the form, then this tip isn't quite for you. But once you get into the next stage where you're trying to pick apart or trying to integrate different themes into your form, it could be really broad themes like how do I continuously relax, or how do I feel my feet the entire time so I have a more grounded, rooted sense of practice. All the way up to much more sophisticated stuff like controlling the opening and closing of the spaces inside the body, or continuously twisting the soft tissue in the body. Right? All of these are big themes, and eventually, ultimately, they're things that want to be going on simultaneously in your form. But the problem here is that if you try to focus on a lot of different things at once, you just don't do any of them that well. And this is where Bruce's advice was so important. He said if you listen to a piece of music and the band's kind of jamming out or doing whatever they're doing, they'll take turns and everybody gets their solo. And so you listen to the song and then somebody goes off on a drum solo. And then there's a bass solo or the guitar or vocals kick in. And everybody else in the band is still playing. But they take a kind of secondary role and they back off a little bit and provide the background for the soloist to go off and really go to town on one, of whatever that sort of instrument's specialty is. And it's purely that instrument at that moment, supported by the rest of the band. And then in a really good band, right, really talented musicians, they'll wind up their solo and the band ramps back up again as a whole. And then the next guy comes in and does his thing and back up. And so you alternate between all these different solos. And I guess in the best scenario or the best pieces of music, then everything comes together after those solos. So you've kept the thread going, the music, the whole time, but you've been able to highlight all these different elements of it, all these different parts. And ideally, when you start to work on integrating deeper principles into your Tai Chi form, you want to do it like that. So you don't want to get so distracted by one element that the rest of your form falls apart. Your alignments go to pieces when you start to open and close. But you also have to turn the volume up for one, turn the volume down for the others. And so you have to let the solos happen while the rest of the band keeps playing. And I think, just to say again, like that's a nice analogy, but the brilliance of it, right, comes in how much effort it takes to actually listen to a piece of music. Think about that for a second. Get your favorite piece of music going and feel internally what that's like, right? How hard is it to listen? How hard is it to enjoy the piece of music? And you have no problem shifting focus to a solo here, and you hear the background music there, or when the whole symphony comes together, when all the music comes together at once, you don't worry about, oh, well, this instrument and that is... No, you hear it as a whole. But somehow, so that's just to say, look, your nervous system is capable of doing that kind of activity. Somehow, when you go to do your Tai Chi practice, that falls apart and you make it a completely mental trip. And that's what I want you to try to avoid. If you can make doing your form and learning all these elements just like listening to your favorite piece of music, it's going to get a lot smoother and a lot more integrated. So good luck with that. Let me know how it goes, and I'll talk to you again soon.